1:17 a.m. This is the exact moment the broadcast starts, and it's the last time the camera's internal clock remained synchronized. In the 11 months leading up to this recording, 6 people vanished from Decimera. There were no tracks, no struggle, and no bodies. Local police records show 6 separate open cases vanishing in a tight cluster, all centered around a single structure. Faiz arrived in the village with 3 high-definition cameras and a history of debunking local myths. He wasn't looking for ghosts. He was looking for a person, someone responsible for the disappearances, and he expected to find them using thermal imaging and high-gain microphones. He never left the village. What remains is his final data card, recovered from the mosque floor. We're going to look at the raw sequence of events as they were written to the disc. The footage records a progression. It tracks the shift from a professional documentary to a sequence of frames that the camera's sensor should not have been able to process. The audio track registers a change the moment Faiz enters the village limits. Decimera is surrounded by miles of primary jungle, but the microphone picks up a total absence of insects or wind. The background noise drops to a flat, unnatural 0, interrupted only by a low-frequency hum from the mosque speakers. Faiz encounters an old man standing near the entrance. The man gives a single instruction: if there is a sound from the basement after the prayer, do not acknowledge it. When we compare the audio to the visual data, there's a massive discrepancy. We hear the old man's voice clearly on the track, but the lens captures only pure static and empty darkness in the space where he should be standing. Faiz continues to interact with the space as if the man is there. This suggests that whatever was speaking wasn't reflecting light. It was modulating the audio directly onto the camera's internal microphone. Even before entering the building, Faiz is documenting a reality that his eyes can see, but his equipment cannot verify. Inside the mosque, the air quality changes. The sound of the rain outside vanishes instantly, replaced by the smell of stagnant water and rot, recorded in Faiz's verbal notes. The flashlight beam catches a trail of wet, bare footprints. They lead away from the prayer mat and move directly toward the basement door. As Faiz approaches the stairs, the broadcast from the speakers warps. The pitch drops, the cadence slows, and the recording picks up his own name being repeated in a low whisper. Faiz moves down the concrete steps. His movements become erratic, and his breathing, captured in high fidelity, suggests he's no longer looking for a suspect. He's looking for an exit he can't find. The flashlight hits the basement floor, which is covered in 2 inches of black water. In the center of the room, dozens of people are kneeling, swaying back and forth in perfect synchronization. The light moves up to their necks. There is no head above the collar of any person in that room. The swaying stops. Every headless torso pivots toward the camera at the exact same moment. These aren't victims of a crime. These are the missing villagers, and as they turn toward Faiz, the footage shows the camera lens beginning to fracture, despite no physical impact. Faiz runs for the stairs, but the door at the top doesn't lead back to the mosque. It opens into the same basement he just tried to leave. The camera glitches, and the monitor on the back of the device shows a perspective that is physically impossible. It shows a view from the back corner of the room, looking at a man on his knees, surrounded by the others. Faiz is looking at the screen, and he is seeing himself. He is already kneeling. He is already swaying. Standing over his shoulder in the monitor's feed is a pale, smiling figure, known in local lore as the Kuntilanak. She is only visible on the digital display, not in the room itself. The recording ends when the camera's perspective shifts permanently into the monitor's view. Faiz is no longer the person behind the lens. He is now part of the image being recorded. The next morning, the mosque was found empty. The basement water had evaporated. Faiz's gear was found stacked neatly on the bottom step, fully powered and still recording. When technicians attempted to dump the footage, they found the file was already in the process of a remote upload. The metadata shows it began propagating to public servers at 1:17 a.m., exactly 24 hours after Faiz went missing. Since the file went live, viewers have reported a specific recurring audio anomaly. When the video reaches the final minute, a name is heard. Not Faiz's name, but the name of the person currently watching the screen. The village of Decimera is still empty, but the ritual in the basement is growing with every view. using the 1:17 a.m. timestamp to find its way into a new room.